Tonight, the top two teams in the AL East face off. Joe Madden and the Rays look to reclaim their winning ways against red-hot Adam Jones and the Baltimore Orioles. The Rays and O's kick off the series opener next on Sun Sports. Tonight we welcome you to Tropicana Field where the Rays continue their homestand. They will open a three-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. And if you thought the American League East was tight the last time we got together, well, tonight it's even tighter. The Rays and the Orioles tied for first. The Yankees a game and a half back. Toronto and Boston in the basement, only 3 games behind both the Rays and the Orioles. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Todd Callis sitting in for Brian Anderson, who has the weekend off. I'm Dwayne Statz. Great to have you aboard as the Rays and the Orioles tied for first. Shoot it out here to open June. I'll tell you, not many people thought this would be the case, especially with Baltimore coming in, Todd. They've lost 5 in a row. They're still tied with the Rays. The Rays have lost 3. But Adam Jones is one of the big reasons the Orioles have gotten off to such a great start.
You're right. This guy's done everything this year for Baltimore. Offensive categories, you name it, he leads them. And he's played a solid center field, too. He's a guy like B.J. Upton who can throw runners out at any bag. You can see those 64 hits, the 16 home runs, the 34 runs batted in, leads the team in runs scored. Just signed a 6-year contract extension. He knows he's going to be around Baltimore. He's happy to be an Oriole for a long time.
Well, the Rays disappointed, losing their last 3 games in the month of May, and as they look ahead to a brand new month, Matt Joyce gave them some indications last month he's ready to play every day.
You're right. And last year, when he had that phenomenal month of May, he was named to the All-Star team by his peers. Not quite at the same pace, but really solid this year. Probably the most consistent Ray in the offense all season long. And I like these last 2 highlights because they're against lefties. And that's the key for Matt to getting more playing time if he can produce against left-handers.
So the Rays and the Orioles will square off the first game of this 3-game series. And for the Rays, David Price on the hill. He has been outstanding all year long. He has been even better than that here at home at Tropicana Field. More on David Price when we come back.
It might be a little wet outside in the Tampa Bay area, but it's always a beautiful day for baseball in the Trop Dome in St. Pete. Fans still filing in tonight as a Friday night game between the Rays and the O's get a 3-game weekend series started. Your starters tonight, David Price, couple of left-handers. Price 6-3 on the year, 2.71 ERA. And Wei-Yen Chen, a left-hander for the Orioles. This is his first season, off to a great start in his major league career. He had an ERA of 2.22 in April. That went up to 4.2 in May, but altogether so far, pretty good start for the rookie. You know, David Price has dominated the Orioles so far in his young career. Tonight's going to mark the 10th start already that Price has faced the Orioles. He's 4-2 over the previous 9 starts with an ERA of 2.90. But, you know, we talked to David, and he is very well aware that this Orioles team is far more potent than the Orioles teams he's faced in the past.
I mean, they've always had young talent, and that talent's gaining experience over the last couple of years, and they're putting that experience out there on the field. So Adam Jones is having a great year. So is Chris Davis, Matt Wieters, all those guys. They're gaining experience, and it's showing.
All right, so the Rays come in having lost 3 straight games. The Orioles, they've lost 5 straight games, but still both teams good enough to remain in a tie atop the American League East. One team will snap their losing streak tonight and take first place all to themselves. Back to Dwayne and Todd after a short break.
Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on the amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Fans file again to Tropicana Field for the first game of the 3-game series. And tonight's Rays game is presented in high definition, brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Take a look at the Baltimore lineup. They'll have Robert Andino leading off and Steve Tollefson playing left field tonight, hitting second. More on that a little later. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, with Adam Jones in center. Matt Wieters will catch with Mark Reynolds at first. Chris Davis, the designated hitter. Wilson Betemit is at third base, and Bill Hall has just rejoined this team. He is in right field.
David Price on the mound for the Rays. You can see what he has done this year at home. A stellar 119 earned run average. His starts in the month of May have been outstanding. He's gone at least 7 innings in those 5 starts, and now he starts off June on a nice little run and trying to go deep again for the Rays this evening. Defensively behind David Price, Hideki Matsui makes his second start in left field. B.J. Upton and Matt Joyce in the outfield as well. Sean Rodriguez, Elliott Johnson, Ben Zobrist, and Carlos Pena. Jose Molina behind the plate for David Price. Rays defensive alignment brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarket, home of the new Sweet Spot Burgers.
And Joe Madden, along with Davey Martinez, his bench coach. Joe 3 over 500 for his career against the Baltimore Orioles, the 2-time American League Manager of the Year. Joe Madden, and Tom Foley joins the pregame conference there. Appears to be very serious about getting this first game underway.
Yeah, as always, it's very stoic and serious on the Rays side.
Yep, and speaking of serious and stoic, there's Buck Showalter, and what a job he's done with this Baltimore Oriole ball club. You know, Buck had a couple of stints where he helped the Bill teams. The Yankees won, didn't stick around to enjoy the fruits of that labor. Same thing in Arizona. And here he is with Baltimore. And they're in the midst of a significant turnaround, as you see the standings right there. 29-22, the Rays and the Orioles. So the June shootout begins right here at Tropicana Field between these two teams in a very hotly contested American League East. Robert Andino steps in, and the first pitch of this game presented by Pinch a Penny, and it's a fastball in there for a strike. 94-mile-per-hour fastball to start this one from David Price. Pop-up foul, that's going to be out of play. 0-2. Andino hitting .254 and .295 against left-handed pitching, but he's behind this classy lefty. 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. David Price coming off the 7-inning outing his last time. This one is down 2-2. That was against the Red Sox in Boston when he gave up just 1 run in 7 innings. Had a no decision in that game. And now the count is full. He tried to get the called third strike with a cutter that stayed wide. So it's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. And it's foul back. He went 3-2 and then fired him up with that 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, 2-2. He tried to get a little backdoor cutter to try and get the called third strike. Andino didn't chase.
3-2. Swing and a high drive hit deep into left center field. Matsui and Upton. Upton just in front of the track makes the catch. That ball headed toward the deep part of this ballpark, and BJ got there to corral it.
Towards that triangle, as you said, that's the deepest part of Tropicana Field. Hideki Matsui hasn't really been challenged too much in his 2 starts in left field. That time he was over pretty quickly, but with BJ Upton in center, he's going to take control of this one, and it was all the way to the edge of the track at the deepest part of left center field.
Now, Matsui did make 4 starts in the minor leagues at Durham in left field. Tollison fouling it back. Strike 1, a fastball. Steve Tollison, by trade an infielder, but because of the outfield shortage on this club due to injury, he's in left field tonight making the start. Did play some outfield at Norfolk earlier this year, but primarily an infielder, as was his dad, Wayne Tollison. Pitch is down. In fact, There's not as many as 6 degrees of separation, but maybe just 1 or 2. Steve Tollison's father played for the Yankees when Buck Showalter was a part of that scene up there. Ground ball, shortstop. Elliott Johnson takes care of that. And Steve Tollison was around the clubhouse in those days, so Buck knows him well and likes his background and the type of approach he brings.
Well, he'll be in the 2 spot at least tonight, and we'll see going forward. J.J. Hardy had been in the 2 spot all year long for Baltimore, but now he shifts to 3. What a May it was for J.J. Hardy, 314 in that month, and a lot of pop. Since June of last year, only Josh Hamilton and Curtis Granderson have more home runs than him in the major leagues.
And there's a strike call. How about that?
Yeah.
Isn't that
surprising?
That would surprise most people when Hamilton, Granderson, and there's Hardy.
So we're talking about a full year since June 1st of last year. Over a full year, he is tied for 3rd in the major leagues in home runs.
Well, hitting 3rd seems to be the spot for him now with those kinds of numbers. Dropped into that spot. 1 and 2.
Well, they're going to have to go through what the Rays did with Evan Longoria. They don't have their 3rd hitter in Nick Markakis. They don't have their right fielder. You could pencil him in for 160 games a year, but now he's on the DL for the first time.
The pitch is low. That cutter, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, Markakis could miss up to a month or so with the right wrist. First trip to the DL. There's that cutter that caught the corner. Hardy caught looking. We go to the bottom of the 1st. No score. The bottom of the 1st inning, a 1-2-3 top of the 1st for David Price. Rays lineup features Carlos Pena again leading off. Then B.J. Upton and Matt Joyce. Ben Zobrist, Luke Scott, and Sean Rodriguez in the heart of the lineup. Ahead of Hideki Matsui, Jose Molina, and Elliott Johnson.
Rays' first look in the regular season at Wei-Yin Chen. Out of Taiwan, making his major league debut this season. A little bit of a 3-quarter delivery. Against righties, he's mostly fastball and changeup. He'll add that slider and curve into the mix against lefties. You can see he's fared better at Camden Yards than he has on the road this year. Usually Camden Yards is a pretty good hitter's park, but only 1-1 with a 5.14 ERA away from Baltimore this year. The Orioles defensively, Steve Tollison, his first outfield start. Just up also Bill Hall, Adam Jones, the other outfielder, Wilson Bettamy, J.J. Hardy, Robert Andino, Mark Reynolds, 6th start at first base, and the Gold Glover, Matt Wieters, first catcher to win a Gold Glove in Orioles history. Today's defensive alignment brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarket, home of the new Sweet Spot Burgers.
And there's Nick Markakis with a fractured hamate bone. And so he is lost to this club for at least 2 weeks on the optimistic side. Could be 4 weeks. And Carlos Pena steps in to face Chen. And his first pitch is wide. That fastball in at 91, and that's about where he will top out. But he'll give you a look at some of the other stuff and then be sneaky a little bit with that fastball by setting it up with some off-speed stuff. There's Pena bunting down the third base side, and it's just foul. So the count 1-1. Carlos, with the Orioles employing the shift as he often does, tried to bunt his way on.
That had a chance, but it was just foul. That was an easy base hit if it was just a foot to the right. Carlos has tried that a few times this year, and he's bunted foul a few times down that third base line.
You know, I think Carlos thought that was going to be foul from the get-go because he waited a beat or two to take a look at it down the line before he took off for first.
When he bunted it, the first bounce was actually in foul territory, but on the angle, it then moved into fair territory for a while, but not long enough.
Carlos and Elliott Johnson have been in a battle for team lead on bunt hits. How about that? 2 balls and a strike.
I like that take because a lot of times he has been bunting, and bunting not necessarily at strikes all the time. And right there, that's a good take on an inside pitch that he didn't feel like he could get down.
You know, that's at least half the battle. I remember Bunny Mick, who was a great bunting instructor. In fact, probably taught Mickey Mantle how to bunt. And yes, Mantle did bunt. There's a foul ball back. But bunting the right pitch is a big part of that, as well as the technique itself of putting the ball down. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Carlos now. Wei-Yin Chen, 4-1 on the year. Opposition hitting .250 against him. And it's right down the middle of the same. .250 lefties, .250 righties. Here is the 3-2 and a line shot into right. Ball going back. It's going to be over his head and will one-hop the wall. Carlos will dig for 2. The throw not in time. A 2-base hit for Carlos Pena. Pena worked it to 3-2 and lined it over Hall's head.
Carlos hit that ball so well, but it had top spin, so you weren't sure if it was going to get over Bill Hall's head. It just barely did. And really good hustle by Carlos coming out of the box. Made a nice turn on the inside part of the bag at first, and that allowed him to just be safe at second base. He really busted it out of the batter's box, and that allowed him to get a double.
So Carlos is in scoring position for B.J. Upton. Just like that, the Rays have an opening threat. And the fastball taken for a strike. Into the dirt. It skips away from Wieters, and a move to third by Carlos Pena. A wild pitch, and the Rays have a man at third with nobody out.
Now that pitch was really spiked. I mean, he didn't even come close to getting it to the plate there. Wieters had no chance, and then the ball gets just far enough away, and Carlos with a good read. And all of a sudden, he's at third base without an out.
So a great opportunity for the Rays early. And Upton did go, says Vic Carapazza down at first. He tried to hold. Jeff Nelson is calling the balls and strikes. 14 plus years in the major leagues for Nelson out of Minnesota. Nelson is a guy who will tend to give the high strike. So we'll watch and see if that's the case again tonight. And it's foul back. And if you work inside the right-handed hitters, he's likely to call that a strike as well.
BJ better have a pretty good expanded zone here. Chen has been a guy who has lived upstairs this year with a fastball with success, but I don't think it's by design. I just think he's missed some spots and been able to get away with it for the most part.
And a foul back, and that fastball was up a bit.
That was up. He's had a lot of pitches, especially earlier in the season, that he left upstairs that he was able to get away with. With 2 strikes, you got to defend the zone even at the top there, and BJ took a rip, even though it may have been above the top of the zone. We'll see here. Just barely.
Yeah, but if you don't swing at that, that's probably a strike with Nelson back there.
Yep.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
The infield's back, so all BJ's thinking about right here, contact, give your team the lead.
And a little ground ball to short. Hardy's coming to the plate, and Carlos will run into an out. Hardy, even with the infield back, comes to the plate. Well, let's take a look at this. And I just wonder if Carlos thought that might be a little more automatic than it turned out to be.
Watch him freeze here. He freezes on the ground ball. You either got to go off contact or you've got to stay. He freezes. Watch the reaction by Carlos. He freezes right here. And that little hesitation was enough for Hardy to make up his mind that even with the infield back, I'm going to come home. Carlos did not leave on contact. So I'm not sure if he read that as going through, but that was a late break and it cost the Rays.
Yeah, and I think that's something Hardy noticed, because otherwise Hardy's going to go to first with that. But with that little hesitation, it gave him a shot on a play at the plate, and he nailed him. Now Matt Joyce, and the pitch to Matt is a strike. Well, the Rays failed to take advantage of a golden opportunity right there.
And that's an opportunity, you're right. With the infield back, you've just got to be on contact, able to go as soon as the ball's on the ground.
Matt fouls it back. He's behind 0-2. BJ over at first. And a liner into center. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Joyce against the lefty serves a soft line drive base hit into center.
Yeah, we mentioned before the game started how it's good to see some of these highlights for Matt against lefties. That was a breaking ball. The Weeders wanted out of the zone outside, and he just hung it right over the plate. And a good job by Joyce staying on it and singling into center field.
Well, let's see if the Rays can cash in on yet another scoring opportunity against the 26-year-old lefty. Chen out of Taiwan. And Zobrist puts down a bunt. Going to be a tough play at first. He is safe there, and the bases are loaded. So Zobrist bunts his way on to load the bases.
Chen did everything he could, but that was in a perfect spot. With Betemit back and Upton with good speed off second, even though BJ doesn't have a big lead, this ball is only where the pitcher can make the play. And then Betemit's not even on the bag at that point, so Chen's only chance was the first, and Zobrist was able to beat it out. Perfect bunt.
So now it'll be the former Baltimore Oriole, Luke Scott, with the bases loaded. Luke The leading RBI man in the Rays lineup with 33. And the first pitch sails too high. 1 ball, no strikes. Upton third, Joyce second, Zobrist at first. And a ground ball through the middle. Base hit into center. Upton scores. Joyce on his way to the plate. He will score. Zobrist goes to third, and the Rays lead 2-0 on the base hit into center by Luke Scott. And the Rays come out swinging tonight here in the first.
You can see Luke with the big smile. A lot of times when teams shift Luke, the shortstop's over in that hole between basically where this ball goes. But with runners on base, they're playing for the possibility of a double play are the Orioles. And this ball finds its way into center field. Sharply hit ground ball on the Rays with the early 2-0 lead thanks to the former Oriole.
So the Rays pick up two more men on base. The RBI single by Luke Scott gives him runs batted in 34 and 35 for the year. And here is Sean Rodriguez. Sean's average 230 to begin the night. And that's a strike. It's a 20-pitch first inning now for the Baltimore left-hander. And the bunt by Rodriguez. Down the line comes Zobrist. He will score. Chin with the flip to first. So the bunt scores the run as Scott moves up to second. Rodriguez will get credit for a sacrifice, and the Rays make it a 3-run first.
Joe gave Sean one pitch to look at and saw that they weren't even thinking about the fact that the Rays might bunt here. So on the second pitch, Madden puts on that little first and third play that he loves. Rodriguez bunts it a strike and bunts it up the first base side perfectly. They were working, as you said, on fundamentals the other day, and Rodriguez bunting is as good as anyone on the team.
And now here's Matsui with a man in scoring position. And he shoots this one high and deep and gone. Home run right down the line on the first pitch. Hideki Matsui hits his second home run in a Rays uniform. And the Rays break out with a 5-run first. Second home run for Matsui. Both home runs have come on the first pitch. And that has been a recurring theme with him. Last year with Oakland, almost all of his offensive damage came either on the first pitch or the second pitch of an at-bat.
That was launched. Perfect swing, perfect timing. The only question was, does it stay fair? And it did. And that is into the bleachers right in front of the back wall. That is a shot by Hideki.
1-0 the count to Jose Molina. And the pitch inside. So Hideki Matsui delivers once again. 175 home runs in the major leagues. And Molina is up in the count.
Mentioned Chen's been able to get away with some high fastballs this year. Well, that was an ambush right there by Hideki. He was all over that pitch and crushed it to right.
And ball 4 is high. Well, Molina follows suit, drawing the walk. The Rays will send at least 9 men to the plate here in the first.
Chen was in the Japanese professional league, but at different times than when Hideki was there. Chen was there more recently, 05 and then 08 through 11. Had a Tommy John surgery, keep him out of baseball for a couple years. But the legend of Hideki Matsui obviously was strong when he was there, and now he gets to face him for the first time. And man, Hideki loves that first pitch fastball, and he is ready for it.
Well, with Oakland, of all the runs that he drove in last year, with 72 runs batted in, 30 of those came either on the first pitch or the second pitch of an at-bat. So that gives you an idea what he's looking for as soon as he steps into that batter's box. 1-0. You'd better throw him a quality first pitch if you're going to throw him a strike.
It's funny how guys elevate their game. Hideki playing that time at Durham didn't hit any home runs. Now all of a sudden 2 starts at the big league level, 2 home runs.
Cut and a miss by Elliott Johnson. The count is a ball and a strike. One and two. And the other thing about Matsui, it really doesn't make a lot of difference if it's a right-hander or a left-hander, and that's been the theme pretty much his entire career. It's low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 30 pitches now here in the first by Wei-Yin Chen.
Broke out the changeup there against Elliott. His secondary stuff, he seems like he's having trouble with control, especially that slider and curveball. Haven't been able to throw either of those for a strike yet.
So it's a full count. 3-2.
The Orioles had 2 very short starts in their last series at Toronto. They had the day off to kind of regroup, but both Tommy Hunter and Jake Arrieta did not take their games very deep against the Blue Jays, and that bullpen has been used a lot this year.
Molina will take off. There he goes, and the pitch is ball 4. So Molina goes to second, back-to-back walks as Johnson takes over at first. And Carlos Pena, who started this inning with a double, will bat here again. And Buck Showalter has action up in the bullpen. The left-hander Dana Evelyn is up and throwing.
He was one of those guys that had to save the bullpen the other day. He threw 4 shutout innings in the game Monday after a reduced start in that game by the Blue Jays staff, or excuse me, by the Orioles staff.
Carlos takes that pitch for a ball. Matsui jumped on the first pitch, hit a home run down the right field line. Molina walked on 4 pitches. Johnson walked on a 3-2 pitch. And now the 1-0 pitch to Carlos Pena. And that catches the zone. 1-1. Well, Luke Scott's having a conversation with Matsui with the interpreter, as you see right there to the left of Matsui. Cut and a miss. Pena chased the high fastball, and he was thinking about sending one downtown.
Yeah, that was a big rip. Roger, the interpreter, he and Matsui, when they were welcomed into that clubhouse after he met with the media, they did a similar thing to what they do post-game with their little dance party. Hideki hasn't seen the true dance party yet after a Rays victory.
Just a sneak preview.
It was a preview.
1-2 now. Swing and a miss. Big cut at the fastball to retire the side. Rays send 10 men to the plate. They score 5 times and lead 2. Big 2-run blast off the bat of Hideki Matsui. Hideki Matsui with a big blast in the bottom of the first. In tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida. Matsui now has 507 career home runs between the major leagues here and Japan. He had 332 in Japan and now 175 here. So an early and big lead for David Price. He faces Adam Jones, who's having just a great year, a breakout year. Takes the pitch for a strike. 16 home runs, 34 runs batted in. 0-2. The slugging percentage is 4th in the American League. And so the young outfielder, who just had a 20-game hitting streak come to an end, now has a multi-year contract. Signed a 6-year extension through 2018 just last week. And he is called out on strikes. Fastball got him looking. Mid-90s fastball. Strikeout number 2 for David Price.
Orioles have struck out a lot during this 5-game losing streak. In fact, they take the most called third strikes in the American League. Price with a strikeout to end the first on a called third strike to Hardy, and that was right there. Not sure what Adam Jones was looking for. 95 right down the middle. A little bit on the inner half, but that's an easy call for home plate umpire Jeff Nelson.
Now here's Matt Wieters. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Wieters not nearly as hot as he was when the Rays saw him earlier. 7 of his last 64 coming into this series. 96 on that called strike. 0-2.
David's just pouring fastball after fastball, and the Orioles are looking and getting behind in the count.
Fouled away.
Same sequence that he went with against Adam Jones. Fastball strike, then tried that little backdoor cutter. That time Wieters was able to foul it off.
And a swing and a strikeout. Well, Molina came up with it. And Wieters is out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts.
I love the tempo David Price is setting right now. You can have a long inning where you're in the dugout. You can see that was not a foul tip. So even though the ball hit the dirt, it is a strikeout. Wieters misses that ball as Molina blocks it and then makes the tag. But Price has a great tempo right now, and he's aggressive in the strike zone with that nice lead.
And a first pitch strike into Mark Reynolds. That one at 97. So he's been 95, 96, 97 to open these hitters here in the second inning. Tried to drop a breaking ball in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a line shot to center. BJ's there to make the catch. That fastball hit 98, but Upton caught it. Rays lead 5-0 mid-2.
Baltimore, tonight's game available in Spanish via SAP, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
The Rays got to Wei-Yin Chen in the first inning for 5 runs on 5 hits. He issued a couple of walks, made 36 pitches in that inning. And it will be Upton, Joyce, and Zobrist against Chen in the Rays' second inning. BJ looks at a strike. The Rays have dropped 3 in a row. The Orioles have lost 5 in a row. They come in with identical records of 29 and 22. Ground ball third, grabbed by Vetemite, and the throw to first a little wide, but Reynolds managed to come up with it and keep his foot on the bag. 1 away. Matt Joyce singled and scored in the first. Pushed his average over 290. It's down. He came into this game hitting .250 against left-handed pitching with a couple of home runs against lefties. And he's just itching to see more left-handed pitching. That's for him the next step in his career, he feels. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's too close. 2-1.
His dad used to throw him BP lefty, but Joe Madden feels like sometimes he gets out of his comfort zone against lefties, but great to see that Lester grand slam the other day.
It's upstairs. 3 balls and a strike. And a cut and a miss. Gave him a 3-1 slider. Chen not about to come in with a fastball there. So the count is full.
Well located slider. First time he's really spotted his slider curveball where he wanted. He's been a little bit off with those 2 pitches.
And the pitch is fouled back. That was a fastball. 89, 90, 91. That's about where he'll pitch with that fastball. 1 out and a full count to Matt Joyce. And Matt draws the walk. Fastball missed.
Here's John Lester in Fenway Park. Matt Joyce said afterwards he thought he hit it too high. Wasn't sure it was going to carry into the bullpen, but it did. And that was a big blast for the Rays as part of taking 2 out of 3 in Boston on their last road trip.
Here's Ben Zobrist. The pitch is inside to Ben. Well, the Orioles have not been an easy club for the Rays. They were .500 against them last year in the season series, 1-2 this year. So it's a good sign to see the Rays off to such a quick start tonight in this series against Buck Showalter's crew.
We've got one starting pitcher who's living in the strike zone and another starting pitcher who's living outside trying to get hitters to chase, and the Rays are showing good patience here this inning and even last when they drew 2 walks.
And Zobrist takes it for a strike. It's 2-1. Ben second in the league in walks with 35. A 2-2 count. The rest of the East, New York running third, a game and a half behind the Rays and the Orioles. And the Yankees have put 5 up in the second inning in Detroit to take a 5-1 lead. How about the Tigers? The Tigers had fallen 4 games under 500. Now they won their last game, so they're 3 games under right now. Third in the Central. 24 and 27 for the Tigers. And Curtis Granderson has hit a grand slam for the Yankees in that game in Detroit. And so that a big part of that 5-run second. 5-1 Yankees. A step back there as Joyce just bounced away to extend his lead a little bit. Joyce about as conscientious, Todd, as any base runner the Rays have about trying to get a good secondary lead. He's really taken that base running edict from Joe Madden to heart. Ground ball short. Hardy to Andino out there and safe at first. So Zobrist beat the play at first. Joyce forced Hardy to Andino.
Just not hit hard enough there for Hardy to turn and try to quick flip to Andino, but once that ball bounces a third time, no chance. Hardy to Andino, and even with a pretty quick turn there by Robert, Ben Zobrist able to beat it out.
So Zobrist is aboard with 2 outs. Luke Scott in the batter's box. And they station Andino in short right field with Hardy up the middle, but still on the shortstop side of the bag. Ball 1 to Luke.
We have seen a lot of teams shift 3 infielders to the right side and play the shortstop where Luke Scott's base hit went his first time up, just to the right of the second base bag.
Going to move to first. Zobrist back in. Scott singled home 2 in the first. Rodriguez bunted home a run. Matsui hit the home run, a 2-run shot to make it a 5-run inning. And the pitch skied to center. It's Jones making the grab. The Rays leave a man through 2. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Third inning, just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, David Price back out to the hill. 5-0. The Rays on top. And the designated hitter in the lineup for Baltimore is Chris Davis. He's going to lead it off. A swing and a miss. He swung at that fastball as if he wasn't ready for the fastball.
Very late swing.
And this pitch is foul the other way, cutting away from him. 0-2. Davis comes in here with a good year, hitting .309, hitting .310 against lefties. And that's going to be fouled just outside the third base bag. The Rays do have the shift on for him with Elliott Johnson on the first base side of second. So it's an official shift, not just a mere shading. Pitch is down. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a cut and a miss. Fastball in. That's 4 strikeouts here for David Price. The Rays Summer Concert Series kicks off tomorrow when LL Cool J featuring DJ Z-Trip takes the stage following the game against the Orioles. He will perform hits like Mama Said Knock You Out and Hey Lover.
Yes.
Swing and a miss by Wilson Betemit. How about looking at all those fastballs before you get up there? Now the first pitch Betemit sees is a changeup.
That's the one pitch David says he feels like is better this year than last.
High fly ball to right field. And I tell you what's really better about it is his arm speed. You know, and it's something a lot of pitchers have to take a little time in mastering, and David appears to have done that. A lot of pitchers slow that arm down when they throw the changeup, and there were times when David did that a year ago.
Oh, he was one of the biggest culprits of that when he was just learning the pitch, and that he would take his arm speed and just slow it down so much that it was a great tell for hitters. But he has gotten that consistency now where you don't know if it's a fastball or a changeup. That's why it's so much more effective.
Bill Hall, well, a little late for that train at 95, strike 1.
Look at that. That's awesome. 9 of 9.
Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Quite a powerful feeling when, as a pitcher, you feel like you can throw everything for a strike, and that seems to be the kind of flow David's in, not just tonight, but over his last 5-6 starts.
There's a strike at 97, and he's thrown about everything he wants, and he's thrown them for strikes in the first 3 innings of this game. I'm not sure he could feel any better than he does right now about any 3 innings he's put together. He's very good right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See, even that pitch, I mean, it was a little bit off the plate. Bill Hall's bailing out of there like that was way inside. He's just got these hitters way off balance right now.
And he misses down and away. It's a full count. Well, he got ahead of Andino to start the game 0-2 and then got him on a fly ball to center when he threw him a fastball. Now 3-2 to Hall. And Hall fouls this one. Hall was not taking any chances on the fastball. That may have been a little off the plate, but he had no choice but to try to somehow defeat the pitch to stay alive.
That was a 9-1-1 swing. That was almost by him, and he just decided to take a hack just in case. 97-mile-an-hour fastball in the black.
Two outs, bases empty. Second 3-2 pitch and a foul ball that gets Molina, and down he goes. Well, Molina on this homestand has had a very difficult time with things just like this, and he is hurting. Let's take another look at this.
Right knee inner part. It looked like it caught the shin guard, but obviously it caught enough of Molina. That's a,
you know, that thing ricocheted and hit him in 2 or 3 different spots, I think, starting with the right knee.
Right knee, shoulder, or right in the chest after it hits the knee.
I'm not so sure that I've ever seen a catcher take more of a beating than he has. He had the game up in New York where he was just battered behind the plate, and he's had a couple here on this homestand already, and that was a combination like a
pull shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right knee, chest protector, left forearm.
Yeah.
That hit 3 different spots, and he went down immediately. Wow. He's been getting beat up, as you said. He's taken a lot of abuse all year long, but especially this homestand.
And right now, Jeff Nelson is saying, thanks for running interference.
The life of a catcher. He's looks like he's okay, but he's taken so many shots that he's gone down right afterwards. It's amazing. He just hangs in there all the time.
So the count at 3-2. David Price, for the 3rd time, makes a 3-2 delivery to Hall. And it's a bouncer foul. David made 16 pitches in the first inning, 10 in the second. He's up a little over 40 pitches for the game right now. And a swing and a miss. Fastball at 97. 9 in a row retired by Price to start this game.
5-0 now, and Hideki Matsui will bat second this inning. You know, Matsui's home run earlier in the game was his second of the year, of course, 175th in Major League Baseball. But if you look at the big picture, his entire career, you add in the home runs he hit in Japan, he now has 507 career home runs. He's in striking distance of some all-time greats, guys like Mel Ott and Ernie Banks and Eddie Matthews. But next on his hit list is Tampa's own Gary Sheffield, the legend out of Hillsborough High School, who has 509. And Hideki, who knows, he could catch him by the 5th inning.
All right, Barry, thank you. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Sean Rodriguez leads it off, with Matsui due to hit second. The pitch is too low to Sean. Sean bunted a run home in the 1st inning, part of the 5-run first. And he's out in front. Missed the changeup, and it's a 1-1 count. Rays facing Wei-In Chen, the 26-year-old lefty. He pitched for the Chinese Taipei team in the Beijing Olympics. Pitch is down. 2 balls and a strike. Three and one. And the pitch is wide. He gives up another walk. The Rays put the leadoff hitter aboard in the 3rd for Hideki Matsui. Here's that first pitch home run, his first time up. We'll see how Wei-In Chen approaches him this time. And he throws him a fastball, but away off the plate.
I think that was impressive also about that home run. Matsui hardly saw any left-handed pitching in the minor leagues during his assignment with the Durham Bulls. Only 5 at-bats against lefties, no hits, and this is just his second AB at the big league level against the lefty.
That's a strike. The count is now 1-1.
His breakdown was 47 ABs against righties, 5 ABs against lefties. Just not many lefties the Durham Bulls were facing at the AAA level. But he took care of that first pitch he saw from this lefty tonight.
Well, the big concern for him last year was Oakland had to do with the health of his knees. He's had injuries to both knees at one time or another. And he did struggle in the first half of last year. He had 309, but when the Rays signed him, and we talked with the Oakland crew when they were in here, Ray Fosse said the second half of last year his knees appeared to be healthy, and so were his numbers. He had 295 in the second half of last year with the Oakland Ball Club. We know one thing for sure, he still has some pop left in that bat with 2 home runs for the Rays already.
And a few times he's had to run hard down to first base, and even in the outfield he's looked pretty good, so the knees look like they are fine.
Pitch is foul back. Out of play it goes. 1-2. Rays jump to the early lead. It stands at 5. And a liner by the mound to the shortstop. Hardy steps on the bag and fires to first to get the double play. Chin made a swipe at it with his glove as the ball was lined past him. And Hardy, shaded toward the bag, was right there.
Yeah, that was the line drive. Another well-hit ball by Matsui, but on one hop right to J.J. Hardy. Was able to make the easy turn out of that shift.
So a double play results. And here's Jose Molina. Molina lifts a popper back of first. Reynolds after it, but it's going to carry out a play. Strike one. Boston's playing in Toronto tonight. And they're hitting in the top of the fourth, leading the Blue Jays 2-1. Tigers scored a run in the bottom of the third at home against New York. That's 5-2 New York. The American League East, very tight. 0-2 now with that foul ball. The Red Sox are in last, 3 games back. The Blue Jays fourth, 2 games back. New York third, a game and a half back, but the Rays and the Orioles tied for first. And there is a strike call. Molina caught looking. We're headed into the fourth inning. It's 5-0 Rays. Tonight from Tropicana Field, time for our AT&T trivia question. That being, who was the first player to win the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year award? Lance McCullers from Jesuit High School, the winner this year.
He'll be talked about on Monday. Lance McCullers Jr., his dad, we saw pitch in the big leagues. And he'll be a nice first-round pick for somebody.
Top of the order, here's Andino. And the pitch to him is inside. He changed up on him. He took it. 1 ball and no strikes. So who was the first? Lance McCullers, the most recent. Chopped to short, scoop by Johnson. Throw to first in time. 10 up and 10 down to start this game for David Price. Steve Tollison on his way to the plate. Tollison grounded to the shortstop Johnson his first time. And that's a strike. change up to start him. So he starts Andino with a change. Now he starts Tollison with a change. The ground ball to second for Ben Zobrist. Up and over to first. 2 up and 2 down.
Follow your Tampa Bay Rays all season long with a 7-day-a-week subscription to the Tampa Bay Times. Subscribe today and get one of the top 10 sports sections in the country for an exclusive subscription offer. Go to tampabay.com/Rays offer. Wow, talk about a guy who's just feeling in command tonight. Davis got everything going.
Now J.J. Hardy. That fastball just off the plate wide. A ball, no strikes. And Molina tried to bring that one in. Wide again. 2-0. And ball 3. Fastball wide.
Something the Rays would like to see a little bit more from Matt Moore is when he gets a little bit out of rhythm or gets behind in the count. Maybe just take that little extra step behind the mound, regroup, and go back and get him.
He did that at a point in his last outing, which was all the more encouraging with the way he threw the ball against the White Sox. 3-1 now. Fastball in the zone. Yeah, Matt Moore's problem with that game is that he hooked up against Chris Sale. Shot toward right center field. Joyce on the run, reaching up. Oh, he got it! Matt Joyce made the catch. What a grab in right center field by Matt Joyce. David Price still standing on the hill, looking out there. Can't wait to congratulate him. Boy, stick a big star on that one. Look at this catch. That retires the side. 12 up, 12 down. What we're starting to think up here, but in those situations there's usually a great play to maybe save the day. Well, here is a great play by Matt Joyce.
At the last second, he angles back on the route he was initially taking. It looked like that ball was going to get over his head. Now watch him make the adjustment the last minute. Full extension over his glove shoulder, and that is a phenomenal catch. BJ Upton, like, you got to be kidding me with that one. The Home Depot doing more on defense. That's one of the better ones you'll see this year.
Well, you let him play against left-handed pitching. He makes great plays in the outfield. There's Elliott Johnson. The pitch is outside to Johnson. Elliott walked his first time. Rays got to Chen for 5 runs in the first. couple of walks since then, but no runs. 1-1. And Buck Showalter is grateful that Chin has been able to give him a few innings here after the Rays sent 10 men to the plate and scored 5 in the first. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He had first inning bullpen action up and playing the Rays and then Boston back-to-back on the road after that series with Toronto. He did not want to have to go to his bullpen that early.
2-2. Tap to third. Enemy gloves and the throw. That is, oh, he dropped it. No, they're saying he took it out of his glove. On the way to take it out of his glove, he dropped it, but had control. Is the call at first base by Vic Carapazza. That was close anyway.
It was.
Even if he makes the catch cleanly, that was very close with Johnson hustling down the line.
Good hustle out of the box, and let's take a look at if he has control. Well, you see them punched out there by the half step, and Reynolds quickly got rid of the ball after he gloved it. There, yeah, it was in the transfer. Here you'll see he's out and then in the transfer. So good call.
It's Carlos Pena. Big cut, a foul ball off his foot. Well, I tell you, Johnson, you talk about hustling down the line all the time.
And this defense, like the Rays, have had their share of problems this year. So if you put a little extra pressure on the D, you're going to create an error somewhere in this series.
Yeah, they've committed 47 errors. The Rays 43. Strike the count to Carlos. One and one. The Tigers have made it a 5-3 game. New York hitting in the 4th inning in Detroit. Carlos checks. The pitch is high. 2-1 count. Shift on for him. Hardy on the first base side of second. Benamy over at the shortstop spot. Big wave and a miss. It is 2-2.
Carlos thought he had one there. Breaking ball that was up in the zone. Chance to launch on that one.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Pena is out on strikes. 2 gone. Time to get the answer to our AT&T trivia question. Who was the first player to win the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year award? Vance McCullers winning it this year, and Gary Sheffield from Hillsborough High won it back in the 85-86 school year. He was the first. And boy, the state of Florida has been amply represented in that award. There's a strike to B.J. Upton from Sheffield all the way up to McCullers now. Casey Kochman out of Seminole won that. 1-1. And here's the list. You go across the state, Alex Rodriguez. You go to the middle of the state, Zach Greinke. Doug Million from Sarasota, 93-94. Ryan Barber, 90-91 out of Dr. Phillips in Orlando. So that's pretty good representation of the state of Florida.
How about that? That was Barber on that list, went with the Cardinals. And then you've got Greinke, Popka, A-Rod. What a list.
Swing and a miss. Upton missed the fastball. Rays out in order. We're through 4 on to the 5th. 5-0 Tampa Bay.
the top of the 5th inning. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter. It's @SunSportsRays. We've got updates coming your way throughout the game. And log on to FoxSportsFlorida.com. That's where you'll find our Game Connect, your stats, your scores, basically anything you need. It's all right there for you. And actually, we have a tweet to talk about from our very own Tampa Bay TK, also known as Todd Callis. He had some fun on the off day yesterday. Said he was chilling in the Chase on a non-travel off day. Todd, I love seeing your tweets come through. And this was a great one because you showed a little more of your personality than you normally do.
Yeah, we're trying to bring him out. We're trying to bring that personality out. And it's any time spent with Todd is like finding gold. We go to the 5th inning, and let's hear from the golden tones of Todd Callis right now.
Wow. Thank you, Dwayne. Adam Jones leads things off. The Chase is West Chase, where I live, and it was a great off day yesterday, doing nothing but nothing. As Adam Jones pops one up in the air, out goes Ben Zobrist. He's calling everybody off, and he puts it away for the first out here in the 5th inning. So David Price continues along as he retires Adam Jones for the first out here in the 5th. Price with 5 strikeouts. Had a great catch by Matt Joyce to end the 4th inning on a ball hit by J.J. Hardy on a 3-1 pitch. There have been 2 really well struck balls. That one and a line drive off the bat of Mark Reynolds. Other than that, Price has been in command. Another first pitch strike as Wieters foul tips it, 0-1. I believe that's 14 out of 15 now, first pitch strikes. He has been dominant early in the count. Misses inside, 1-1. Wieters in a tough stretch right now. Seen his average dip all the way down to 224. His counts 2-1. He's just one of his last 26 on the road, and 3 of his last 43 overall. Tried to hold up. He went around, says Vic Carapazza. And the count's 2-2.
And yes, he did. Turned out to be an easy call there by Vic Carapazza because there was no question Wieters would have hit that ball into left field.
There is the first base hit of the night for the Baltimore Orioles on a 2-2 pitch. Wieters grounds a single between Carlos Pena and Ben Zobrist. And the fans acknowledge the fact that that's the first hit for the Orioles. Now time for the Just for Men auto stop foolproof stat. 100th career start tonight for David Price, the lowest ERA by lefty in their first 100 career starts of active pitchers. You have Barry Zito, who was at an even 3. Clayton Kershaw 3-1-2. Then you have Price, Santana, Andy Pettitte. Just as the Rays count on David Price, you can count on Just for Men auto stop for foolproof results. I think the fans had an inkling, Dwayne, that there was something special that could happen tonight.
Well, I think we did.
Yeah.
You know, and it was sort of, what is it, telepathy.
Yep.
Between the two of us, without really talking about it. He has that kind of stuff tonight, and it shows you how difficult it is to spend one of those magic evenings and no hit somebody.
That was basically a ground ball, and it was right in the hole between first and second. Not well struck, but it found the right spot. The Rays with a shift on Reynolds with an 0-2 count. All 3 of the infielders, other than Carlos Pena, are on the left side of the infield. Pena holding the runner at first, so the right side wide open. In the dirt, blocked by Molina, 1-2.
And Molina showing us a spin move, locating where that pitch was, and trying to keep an eye on the base runner at the same time and find the baseball.
He's dancing around now. He's frisky. See Reynolds down to 200 on the season. He has been a little bit better lately. His last 10, he's been hitting the ball with a little more authority. There is a close pitch on the inside corner. Nelson says it's just off the plate. It's 2-2.
Well, he's had a couple near misses. This one is at 97. And good luck trying to do anything with that pitch in there. Boy, I tell you, all you can do is take it.
In the air, slicing towards the line and deep. Matt Joyce, a long run over the shoulder grab. He's making these plays look easy. Joyce with another fine play on the move. 2 away.
Yeah, Matt Joyce looked like a wide receiver there, headed into the corner after this one. An over the shoulder grab right there by Matt Joyce. That on the heels of that great catch he made in right center field in the 4th inning.
So Joyce retires Reynolds, 2 outs, a runner on first base. And here's Chris Davis. Davis struck out swinging his first time up. Broken bat right back to David Price. He will underhand toss it to Pena, and that'll do it for the Orioles here in the 5th inning. 1 base hit. First hit of the night for Baltimore. 1 man left on base. It's 5-0 Rays. Rays leading 5-0. Spend the day at the ballpark this Sunday when the Rays take on the Orioles as part of Family Fun Day presented by the Tampa Bay Times. The first 10,000 kids 14 and under will receive a Desmond Jennings bobblehead. And while Desmond may not be here for that, his entire family is going to be traveling in from Alabama for that day. And here's the update on Desmond Jennings. Yesterday with the Charlotte Stonecrabs, 1 for 3, also reached base on an error, scored a run. Tonight so far, 1 for 3 with a single. It will be great, Dwayne, to see him back in the Rays lineup.
Yeah, the Rays really miss him. The 2 baskets, they miss everybody who's been hurt on the DL. But against left-handed pitching, especially Jennings, Longoria, and Keppinger's sort of the secret weapon, I think, out of that 3. They really miss those 3 bats. And maybe the good thing is that they'll all be well rested when they get back.
Well, that's a great point. As Joyce fouls went off to start the bottom of the 5th, you're talking about a team who a lot of their key players are basically going to have a month or 6 weeks fewer at bats as they get towards that grind of August and September than the rest of the league. And they should be a lot fresher, you would think. There's a breaking ball that catches the inner half, 0-2.
Well, the theory of that is that a younger team may not experience the injury situation that an older team would, and they could be fresher. And we're talking about some young guys there, so let's hope that's the case.
Joyce pops it way up in the air. Mark Reynolds in some trouble, but he makes the play. Made an adjustment late, and he put it away for the first out here in the 5th.
I don't know if it's just me, Todd, but it seems as if we've had this year more of those high pop-ups that come close to the rigging and the rings and the roof than we've ever had before.
Carlos hit one against the White Sox. I've never seen one come closer to that gondola.
Me neither.
In the middle of the A ring, where you didn't think anybody could hit a ball up there. And he came pretty close on that one pop-up. One out here in the 5th, and the pitch to Zobrist misses 1-0. Well, the thing about missing all those right-hand hitters, Keppinger, you mentioned, just kills lefties, and then Longoria and Jennings. Tonight's lefty the Rays have been able to get to is more of a neutral lefty. And even though it's been a limited focus here at the big league level, also in Japan, pretty equal against lefties and righties. So the Rays able to jump into that lineup tonight with a Joyce, with a Pena, with a Scott, not worrying about resting any of them. And it has paid off. There you see Evan Longoria.
Yeah, they're hoping that initially they were talking about maybe the middle of the month for his return. I think they're thinking now maybe to get him in a little competition about that time. So it might not be as early as they originally thought, but it appears that he's moving in the right direction.
Took BP today, took those grounders where he doesn't field them with his legs. He just gets on his knees and works with his hands as Tom Foley hits some grounders, and continues to be working so hard in his rehab. He just hopes to be able to get back as soon as possible, and obviously the Rays training staff will make sure he's very diligent and does not return before he's absolutely ready. Counts 2-2 on Zobrist. It's part of that sneaker soiree last night over there in Tampa with a lot of the representatives from all the major sports in the Tampa Bay area. 2-2 pitch at the knees. Zobrist thought it was a little low, but he's called out on strikes. 5th strikeout for Chen, 4 of them in the last 7 batters.
Well, he's been up with a lot of his pitches, and this is a well-located fastball down. You can see on Fox Track there, down toward the low and away quadrant of the strike zone, which is a great percentage location. And that's something that he has not been able to do a lot of tonight with that pitch.
He's been a little bit better as this game's moved along. He was in desperate trouble in the 1st inning, almost knocked out of the game in the 1st inning when Dana Evelyn was warming up in the bullpen. But since then, he's only allowed a couple of walks since the 1st, a walk in the 2nd and a walk in the 3rd. Had no base hit since that Rays 5-hit, 5-run 1st inning. Here's Luke Scott, ground ball right side, and again it'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Chen. He is now retired. The last 8 batters he has faced. We're through 5 here at Tropicana Field with the Rays leading 5-0. To you by Checkers. Checkers, feast on. And by your local Southern Ford dealers. The first Friday of the month in St. Petersburg, always a festive time. And tonight, the Rays with a 5-run first, making it pretty festive for David Price and company, as he has been in command throughout. As he has faced 1 over the minimum against the Orioles today. A 1-out base hit by Matt Wieters, opposite field base hit in the 5th inning. And there you see a bunch of zeros behind that. No runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts for David Price. And the first batter he will face is Wilson Betemit. Betemit takes a pitch Outside and low, it's 1-0. Those 5 strikeouts for Price all came in the first 3 innings. He went through the lineup the first time through, 0 for 9 with 5 Ks. Here's a 2-hopper to Elliott Johnson, who takes his time and throws out Betemeat for the first out here in the 6th. Well, Price a little frustrated coming out of that last inning. He knew that base hit by Wieters wasn't the hardest hit ball of the night. He also had an outstanding play by Matt Joyce to preserve what was then the no-hitter through 4. And he had a line drive off the bat of Mark Reynolds that went right to B.J. Upton. So not the hardest hit ball of the evening. Ended up being the first and to this point only base hit for the Orioles as Bill Hall steps in, just back to the Baltimore Orioles, having been called up to take the spot of Nick Markakis, who went on the 15-day disabled list today for Baltimore. First time in Markakis' career going on the DL. Hall's second time around with Baltimore, debuted with the Orioles against the Rays on May the 12th over at Camden Yards and hit a home run against the Rays in that game. That's inside 96. It's 2-0.
Hall's up here with all of the injuries. Markakis, as we talked about earlier. Nolan Reimold, a good young right-handed hitter, has been working down in Sarasota, and they think things are starting to go better with him. Look out.
Arrow goes over the mound and beyond the mound on that foul ball by Hall. David Price will add to the collection that they survey. That ball was off the end of the bat and split Hall's bat in half. Yeah. So Reimold you mentioned,
yep.
And then Andino, where would the Rays have been without some of those guys, what they contributed in game 162? But they've got Reimold down there. They've got Brian Roberts trying to come back. He's starting at Double-A Bowie, and then he'll move up to Triple-A Norfolk. They've got some guys too that can make an impact as the season moves along. You know, you often hear about the Ellsbury and Crawfords, and rightfully so, and the Evelyn Gorias and Jennings, rightfully so, and Keppingers. But the Orioles are dealing with a little bit too. They've got Zach Britton down there trying to make his return. So now it's 3-1.
Never gets any easier in the American League East. And what's it been? 5 times that it's been as close as it is right now since they went to that format in '94.
It's remarkable in that you can literally start the week in first place and end the week in last place, and vice versa. And the Rays have the Orioles in town for 3, and then they go to New York and play the Yankees for 3. The Orioles go right to Boston after this. If either of these teams loses 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6, they could go from first to last. 3-2 pitch to Hall. He fouls it away. 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, so far, here's the good sign. Inside the East, the Rays have the best record playing inside the division so far. They are 15-11 against AL East opponents.
And they also have the right guy on the mound who loves to feast on the East, if you will. David Price, always very good against the AL East. All stays alive. Pretty good rip at that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. 26-11 lifetime in 49 starts against the American League East for Price. That is outstanding. 5-0 lead tonight as we play here in the 6th inning. Breaking ball low, ball 4, first walk of the night issued by Price. Tune in tomorrow after the game for Inside the Rays Behind the Plate, which will explore the relationship between the pitcher and the catcher. You can also find out the mental and physical demands that come into play. It's Inside the Rays Behind the Plate tomorrow after the Rays Orioles on Sun Sports, where Rays fans live.
Do you think David Price was a little let down after he gave up that base hit in the 5th?
I do.
And he's come right back out here. He's put that behind him. And how appropriate it is that Greg Riddock stopped by the booth, and he's taking care of the middle side of this game for the Rays at various levels, not only big league level, but maybe more importantly at the minor league level, spending time with those clubs and the minor league prospects the Rays have. And it's an intriguing field. And right here, Greg just said, of course, most of you remember him as the third base coach here for the Rays. But he's managed, he's coached, he's been around this game forever, and just a fun guy to talk with about that. And here, he mentioned something with us. It's the process versus the result. And that's where Price is right now after giving up that base hit. There's Greg. Hey, there he is.
There you go.
He's grown since the last time we spent time with him.
But that's a great point. It was a ground ball on the right side. Could have easily been a put out. Turned out to be a base hit.
Well, it's one of the things that it just makes so much sense. And I think another reason that this organization has been as successful recently as it has been, and with an eye toward the future.
2-1 pitch fouled off the mask of Jose Molina. It's 2-2.
Yeah, we're going to have to get some kind of a cylinder or a shield
for Molina.
The beating he has taken tonight and earlier in this homestand and in that trip to New York, something has to be done.
Well, that's what we see Saturday inside the Rays, the life of a catcher. Look at Molina and Jeff Nelson. Jeff's going, are you sure you can keep going here? I'll clean that plate for another time if you want, but he's back in there, almost like a little smile underneath that mask. 2-2 the count on Andino. Runner on first, one out. Breaking ball stays down and in. It's now full count to the second straight Orioles batter. David Price now at 80 pitches, 51 strikes versus 29 balls. Walked Bill Hall with one out, first walk of the evening, and now he needs to throw a strike to Andino in a 5-0 game. And he just misses. Tough pitch to take with 2 strikes, but just off the inner half of the plate, says Jeff Nelson.
Well, if you can't hit it, you take it. That's at 97, just off the plate, in.
And speaking of the mental part of the game, we saw Price again go behind the mound, kind of regroup, gather his thoughts. A little frustrated right now after back-to-back walks.
And that's where a veteran catcher can come into play and help a pitching staff. Something the Rays have counted on Molina to contribute in that way as well.
So now with a 5-0 lead for the first time tonight, the Orioles have 2 runners on back-to-back one-out walks. Hall on second, Andino on first. And Price will deal with Steve Tollison, who was grounded out twice. And there's a strike with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in the inner half, 0-1. Price would love to get a third ground ball from Tollison and end this inning with a double play. Fouled away, and Price ahead 0-2. Rays scored 5 in the first. They don't have a hit since. The Orioles have just 1 hit tonight, and that was in the 5th inning by Matt Wieters.
And David's pitch count has been great because he was on the early part of this game. He's made 18 pitches in this inning. This is his highest pitch count in a compressed amount of time.
Gets a foul ball back to the screen there.
And that's another reason it's important for a pitcher to take a step back off the mound. You start making a lot of pitches in a shorter period of time, and the game, as I think Matt Moore realized the other day when he talked about the game speeding up on him. That's what happened to him 3 starts ago.
Inside low, 1-2. Price has been so good his last 5 starts at taking games deep, 7 innings or more, every one of his 5 starts in May. And as Dwayne mentioned, you can see right there his highest pitch count of the night. Here in the 6th, we still only have 1 out in the inning. That's a ball ripped to left field. Matsui comes in. He tries to play it on a hop. Gets in front of it. Knocks it down. The runner's being held. Matsui's throw comes back in. And now the Orioles have the bases loaded with one out as Tollefson with a single to left.
It took Matsui a beat or two to really get a good read on that line drive. And by the time he started in, a quick start allows him the opportunity to make this catch. But he had a little trouble picking that up immediately, and then found himself in a situation where he was going to try to scoop it just to keep it in front of him. And you can see the hesitation by Hall right there, not knowing whether that ball might actually carry to Matsui or not.
Matsui did a good job keeping the ball right around him. Had that ball scooted past him, it would have been 2 runs for the Orioles. Instead, now the bases are loaded, and one of the hottest hitters for the Baltimore Orioles at the plate, and J.J. Hardy takes a strike, 0-1.
But he's got to be careful here, as we pointed out earlier in the night. Hardy has been among the elite when it comes to power and production in the game over the past year.
Down low, 1-1. Hardy with 7 home runs in the month of May, hit .314 during the month. As you see, stark contrast to what he did the first month of the season. Bases loaded, 1 out. Into center field, deep enough to score a run. B.J. Upton will make the play. Tagging at third is Hall. Everybody tagging. The throw to second is in time. They get the runner at second, and no run scored. The out was made at second before Hall crossed the plate. The shutout intact as Steve Tollefson took a gamble trying to tag to go to second, and B.J. Upton gunned him down.
Well, here's the catch by Upton, and the throw to second in time before the runner crossed the plate. Hall's run does not count, and Molina helping on the call.
B.J. Upton preserves the shutout. 3 runners on, they all tag, Dwayne.
Yeah, and B.J. fires a strike into second base. They cut down Tollefson, and you can see this is a great shot. The tag is made at second. Hall not yet to the plate. And so that run does not count. That's the 6th assist of the year for Upton, by the way. And Hall, near the end of that trek down the third base line, realized he might be in trouble and tried to kick it into another gear, but it was too late by that time.
Jeff Nelson with a great view. You could see behind the plate how he crouched down so that he could see both when Hall was going to touch home plate and at the same time watch the tag made at second, and Guccione called him out. Ground ball by Rodriguez, and he's retired for the first out here in the sixth.
You know, the other thing, that's a nice call by this umpiring crew as well to stay with that play, and they did, and made the correct call.
Well, the Orioles trying to get aggressive there on a deep fly ball to center field, but down 5-0. You have to be pretty sure that you're going to be able to make it into second base, and Steve Tollefson is gunned down by B.J. Upton, who made a perfect throw from deep center to preserve the shutout after what should have been an easy sacrifice fly off the bat of J.J. Hardy. Instead, it stays 5-0. Want to know the count to Matsui. Hideki with his second Rays home run, his first time up. Breaking ball, swings through that one, 1-1.
And he jumped on the first pitch for the second time and hit a home run. He had 344 last year on the first pitch of an at bat. Hit 251 overall and 344 on the first pitch.
Pretty well hit to left field. Tollefson back to the track, and he makes the play for the second out here in the sixth inning.
You can experience a Rays game from the all-inclusive Hancock Bank Club, offering extraordinary seating and luxurious lounge and dining areas. The Hancock Bank Club features an upscale menu and inclusive drink options. For tickets and more information, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com.
Buck Showalter out of the dugout. Give Wei-Yin Chen a lot of credit for bouncing back after a disaster in the first inning where he allowed 5 runs on 5 hits. Did not allow a hit after that. And he retires the last 10 men he faces as he leaves the game here with 2 outs in the sixth inning. Call to the bullpen. Brought to you by Metro PCS. Wireless for all. Bottom half of the sixth inning with 2 outs and the base is cleared. He'll come in to face Jose Molina, who swings with the first pitch he sees from Greg and bounces it foul. 0-1. Wei-Yin Chen really did a good job for Baltimore. And Buck Showalter, after it looked like he might be out of there early in this game, Chen ends up hanging around for 5 2/3 innings after giving up 5 in the first and did not allow a hit after that first. Did walk 4, struck out 5, pitches away to Molina. 2-1.
Yeah, and that's good news for the Baltimore club because their bullpen has been a busy group all year and certainly has been lately.
Ball is ripped into left field. Molina now 2 for 2 in his career against Kevin Gray. So the Rays, who hadn't had a hit since Hideki Matsui's home run back in the first, pick up a base hit here in the sixth with 2 outs. Elliott Johnson, the batter, he walked in the first. Rays sent 10 men to the plate in that first inning. Carlos Pena doubled his first time up in that inning, then struck out to end the inning. Breaking ball from Gregg's a called strike, 0-1. Baltimore's bullpen, you're right, is up to 174 and 2/3 innings already this year. That is a pace for more than 550 bullpen innings. And they were the only team that threw that many bullpen innings last year.
Yeah, that's a heavy load for a bullpen. You're going to need a few extra arms to get through a season with that.
And there's a pitch way outside. That was a called strike. Caught the outside corner, 1-2. Well, that's the concern, I think, for Buck Showalter when you talk about the defense. And the Rays, it's been a little bit of an aberration what we've seen this year defensively. But there's a hit and run, and the ball goes under Andino's glove into right center field. How about that? Jose Molina was on the move, taking everybody by surprise. And Elliott Johnson delivers a base hit under Andino's glove, first and third.
Well, the ball was sharply hit, but I really think Molina being in motion was a distraction for Andino. Number one, it was a surprise. And number two, the ball was hit sharply enough. But look at him right here, and the path of the ball right in front of him. And underneath, the backhand attempt by Andino.
How did that ball miss him? I don't think he looked back. I would love to see that replay again. I don't think he looked back to see where that ball was, and he just kept running. Let's take a look to see if he looks back. All right, he gets the lead. Head down, head down. He never saw it.
Something went past me, and he looked the other way.
That's great.
Well, if you don't look back, then pick up to see where the ball is. So, hey, you could go first to third that way.
You gotta love it. Jose Molina on the move, and now Carlos Pena, since Kevin Gregg's come in the game, he's allowed back-to-back base hits. Shift on for Pena, and he takes a slider for a called strike, and it's 1-1 strike. Pena doubled its first time up. Couple of strikeouts since. Rays lead at 5-0. It's been that score since the first inning. We're in the sixth now. Pitches inside. Fake the throw by Wieters. It's 2-1.
And Wieters took a look at first. That's something he will do quite often with that runner at first if he wanders away from the bag and has an aggressive secondary lead. So he's got to be heads up for Wieters.
Pena had that situation against the Braves where he was hit by a smash off the bat of Luke Scott that may or may not have tied up that game with the Braves. It was hard to tell if Dan Uggla was going to get to that ball. That last base hit by Johnson was simply circumstantial that it did not hit Molina because he had no idea where it was until it went by him. 1-2 the count on Carlos. Way upstairs and away. 2-2. That's a focused base runner right there. He put his head down and never looked back. So the Rays trying to add to this 5-0 lead. David Price has been very, very good tonight. A couple of hits, a couple of walks through 6 innings, and that's it. Saved his shutout last inning on a fine play by B.J. Upton, throwing out the trail runner Steve Tollison, advancing from first to second on what should have been a sacrifice fly. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pena goes down for the final out here in the 6th. Couple of hits, couple men left on base. We head to the 7th. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay.
game in the major leagues that is 5-0 right now. The Mets and Cardinals going at it. Johan Santana has a no-hitter going as he goes out for his 8th inning of work. Now Santana and the Mets are going to be here in less than 2 weeks. Not sure if you're going to see Johan, but you will see New York. And there's what he is doing tonight against the Cardinals. By the way, Santana's last start, a complete game shutout, gave up just 4 singles through 96 pitches. So any question about Johan Santana and his bounce back this year have certainly been answered. We'll keep an eye on this one for you as we turn our attention back to the Rays game now. The Rays also leading 5-0.
All right, Barry, as we head to the 7th inning with that score, new left fielder Rich Thompson in the game. And once again, here's Dwayne's stats.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. You see Thompson out there. It's going to be interesting with 107 pitches for Santana. So we'll keep you posted on the development of that game. The Cardinals and the Mets. The Cardinals do not have a hit. Here's Adam Jones sending a fly ball deep down the right side and out of play. 7th inning underway. 5 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Rays. 0-2-0 for Baltimore tonight. David Price has been very, very good. He has 90 pitches now, 1 pitch into the 7th. And there's a strike on the inner part of the plate. Fastball on the edge. 0-2. Rays had dropped 3 straight coming into this one. And the Orioles 5 in a row. The Orioles have dropped 8 out of 10. It's a ball, 2-strike count. Rays struck early tonight with 5 runs in the first. 5 of their 7 hits coming in the first. And the pitch wide. It stayed out there. He tried to cut it over the corner, and it stayed wide. 2-2. Pop back foul. Fastball. Wieters next, and then Reynolds. Price has had great stuff from the very beginning. He came out throwing 95. He just upped it to each hitter. He went 95 to Andino, 96 to Tolleson, 97 to Hardy, and then got Hardy looking on a cutter in that first inning. Close, but in off the plate. And the count is full.
My favorite inning for him was that second, because he came back after a 5-run inning and just attacked and got Jones to look at a 3rd strike, got Wieters swinging, and then Reynolds lined out.
The chop to short, charged by Johnson. He tries to scoop, but he cannot come up with it. And Jones is aboard. He couldn't lay back on that ball because Jones beats it out. He had to charge it, tried to create a hop, but had a short hop there. And as he tried to scoop it, he just couldn't come up with it.
That's a tough call for the official score, too, because Johnson tries to play this on the first big hop and can't quite get there, and then it tries to short hop it. He would have had to really make a quick transfer to get Jones on that high chopper. And once he didn't get it on the first big hop, it was trouble.
Yeah, and he gets a base hit. He had a 20-game hitting streak come to an end, Jones, and now he gets an infield hit on that chop. Swing and a miss by Wieters. Now you're talking about that second inning when he made 11 pitches, and he got Mark Reynolds on a pitch that was clocked at 98, and he lined to center, and it was caught by Upton. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, our thoughts and prayers are certainly with Tampa Bay Times Rays beat writer Mark Topkin and his wife Sue and their entire family on the untimely passing of their son Ben. Our hearts go out to them and their family, and we again pray for their comfort in a difficult time. 2-1 the count to Wieters. Pitch is low. Now it's 3-1. Price to the 100 mark in the pitch department.
You mentioned earlier, Dwayne, the difficulty, how tough it is to throw a no-hitter. You look at the 3 hits tonight by Baltimore. You had the ground ball to the right side, found a hole. You had the ball to left by Tollison that Matsui may or may not have had a shot at if he got a better jump. And then you have that little chopper that Elliott Johnson can.
Absolutely. And if you have a guy in left who plays there all the time and is what you would consider an average or above average major league outfielder, he catches that ball. So that's an out. You're right on these other 2. There's a little infield chop that turns out to be a hit and a ground ball through the right side. 3-2 now, the count to Wieters. Over to first. Jones back in there. This is the first time tonight that the Orioles have had the leadoff man on, so Price has had to go into the stretch a little earlier here, trying to go through the inning out of the stretch and retire the side. Ground ball. Great stop at third. Rodriguez with a wide throw to second base, and Zobrist kept his foot on that bag to get the force. Good play on the stop by Rodriguez, and a great play by Zobrist to stay on the bag. And Buck Showalter wants to talk it over with Chris Guccione, the second base umpire.
Buck feels like Zobrist was pulled off the bag. Guccione had him staying on. Really good stop by Sean Rodriguez. We saw some balls get through that third base slot by the White Sox the other day, and you're kind of shielded there by Adam Jones to see exactly where Ben Zobrist's foot is. He kind of caught it up at the top of the webbing too. Here's a good look. Close.
He might have had it on the side of the bag. I think Guccione thought the conversation was over. He started to walk away, and something transpired there, and that brought Showalter back into the conversation, a little more heated the second time around.
It's a frustrating time right now for Baltimore. They just had a huge crowd on Friday at Camden Yards last weekend, and they end up losing the last 2 games of that series to Kansas City. Then they go to Toronto and they lose another 3, and so they're on a 5-game losing streak right now. Tell you what, that's close enough. I think that's pretty close right there. That's a good look at Zobrist trying to keep that trail foot on the bag. If he was off, he was barely off.
Yeah, that's some of Zobrist's experience at first base showing up right there. So now the shift is on for Mark Reynolds, and a changeup is low. 1 ball, no strikes. David wants another baseball from the plate umpire Jeff Nelson.
It's a big play by Sean there too. All of a sudden, with this guy at the plate and with Davis on deck,
that's right,
it changes the game a little bit. With one swing, you could have a 5-3 game with either of those guys.
Pitch is down. 2 balls, no strikes. Rays are going to get Jake McGee up in the bullpen. He has just started to throw up the right field line. That's a strike. 2-1. Reynolds, with great power, has always been strikeout prone. But this guy can hit the ball a long way and hit it hard, as he did in the second inning on that line to center. There's a strike. That is squared at 2-2.
He's been all or nothing in his career against David Price. 2 for 16, and those 2 hits were home runs.
Wieters at first base, 1 away. Ground ball, shortstop to Zobrist, out of the shift at second, and the throw to first. That's a 6-4-3 double play, but a little more difficult because the shift was on, and the Rays do it. So it's 7th inning stretch time at the ballpark, and the Rays have a 5-0 lead. David Price in the Rays dugout. We move into the bottom of the 7th. It has been a very good night for David Price. He had great stuff coming out. He ran into a couple of semi bumps in the road, and each time he stepped back and collected himself, just as Greg Riddock would have him do. Here's B.J. Upton facing the left-hander Troy Patton. A little tap foul right in front of Wieters. 1 strike the count. B.J. reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run in the first. He's grounded to third and struck out. You can see the numbers on Patton for the year.
21 games, 1-0. ERA just below 4. Rays saw this guy pitch extended innings in that game at Camden Yards last time the Rays were in town. But then Elliott Johnson was able to get him on a home run, and then Ben Zobrist followed with a home run himself in that game after Patton had thrown 2 or 3 shutout innings prior to that.
BJ up there checked that bat and detected a crack in it. So he's back after renewing. Chin worked 5 2/3. Kevin Gregg a third of an inning. The Rays had 5 of their 7 hits off Chin and all of their runs off him in the first inning. One ball, 1 strike. Matt Joyce will be next here with the left-hander on the mound. And then Ben Zobrist due up. And a strike is called. An off-speed pitch from Patton. It's 1-2. Wave and a miss. So Upton is out. Fastball away after a couple of changeups.
You can tell why this guy might be a little difficult, especially for a righty, because obviously lefty on lefty is going to be tough. But for a righty, the way he hides that ball behind his back, you really don't see it till late in his delivery. Keeps that ball tucked deep behind him, and then all of a sudden it's slinging out of that arm slot. BJ didn't see that, didn't pick it up very well, didn't look like in that at bat.
Matt Joyce, and he strokes it into right center field. That's a base hit. Over to cut it off is Jones. Big turn at first by Matt. But Matt didn't waste any time against the lefty. He singled off a curveball against Chin in the first inning. That might have been a slider. That pitch was up, and he lined it right back into center field.
Very similar swing to what we saw in that first inning, and Matt Joyce has been on base 3 times today against the lefty. Again, getting a chance to play tonight, delivering against a left-handed pitcher. A couple of them.
2 great catches in the outfield and 2 hits and a walk against left-handed pitching. Here's Ben Zobrist. Chops to short. Hardy to Andino, that's 1, and over to first to Reynolds, that's 2. 6-4-3 on the double play. We're headed into the 8th with the Rays leading 5-0. Same two teams tomorrow, and again on Sunday. Bring out your friends, family, and coworkers and become a member of the Group Leader Rewards program. Earn rewards like a free suite or a Matt Moore autographed baseball. Visit raysbaseball.com/group leader or call 855-GROUP-TB. Chris Davis will open the 8th inning. Price with 107 pitches. 5 strikeouts for Price. They came in the first 3 innings. He's walked a couple. And here is Davis. Upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. High popper. Left side. Sean Rodriguez toward the stands. Has room and makes the catch. Rays were shifted around for Chris Davis. That gave Rodriguez a little more of a challenge to get over there. More ground to cover, but he made the catch.
Smooth fielder. Never took his eye off the ball. He can't do that very well in the Trop here, and still was able to tell where that wall was coming, that he had plenty of room.
Wilson Betemit. Pitch is down. Well, that fastball there down at 95, and you talk about pitchers who throw a heavy fastball, and the way Molina caught that one, that looked like a heavy pitch. This one lined into the bullpen, and there's Jake McGee down there making a fine play. He's obviously been talking with Matt Joyce about defending in that region.
Well, you're warming up down the line and take a little break, and there you go, right off the side of the mound there.
Pitch started wide, stayed out there.
He's just been missing just a fraction with both the backdoor cutter and that backdoor curveball tonight. Other than that, I mean, he's been unbelievable.
Ground ball, grabbed, knocked down, picked up by Zobrist, and the throw is high and over toward the Rays dugout in front of the railing. So Betemit is aboard. Now here's the look at that play again. It took a hop off the lip.
Yeah, it took a big hop off the turf there and actually hit him in the arm. Didn't even hit him in the glove. And then he tried to hustle and make that throw maybe before he even had a clean grip of the baseball. But another fine performance by this lefty right there.
Yeah, they're going to charge Zobrist with an error on that play. That's a tough play.
Yeah.
And Joe Madden comes out. That's going to be it for David Price. He'll get a great hand from this crowd here tonight as he departs. After 7 1/3, he'll leave with a 5-run lead. Call to the bullpen. Brought to you by Metro PCS, wireless for all. Joe Madden has gone to the bullpen with the Rays leading 5-0. 7 1/3 for David Price tonight. And our Toyota trend, the Rays bullpen has been the best in the majors for the month of May with a 2.01 earned run average, and Jake McGee gets the call.
Jake has been really, really good lately, making his 22nd appearance of the season. He's part of that May contingent that had a great month. He was 2-0 with a sub-1 ERA, 0.82 for the month of May.
He's on to face Bill Hall. And the first pitch from McGee is inside at 95. So there's no let up in that department when they go to the bullpen. Here's another big lefty throwing 95 right out of the chute.
You know you're going to get the fastball 80% of the time or more. It's just been so well placed with all that gas.
Look out, a line shot fouled into the stands. The count goes to 1-1.
I mean, think about it. You're going from a 95-mile-an-hour lefty. Okay, he's done. Let's bring on another 95-mile-an-hour
Well,
lefty.
you know, the age-old question is, do you get better when you go to the bullpen? Well, in terms of velocity, you don't get any worse.
Unbelievable.
That's for sure. 1-1 right now. Hall unable to catch up to that one. That'll tick up at 96. A ball, 2 strikes. Jake's pitch. Ooh, pretty close. Fastball just wide at 97.
You were right earlier. There's a lot of pitches that the Orioles have taken that have been close. And I think Nelson's done a good job tonight. But they just can't hit these. So what are you going to do? That one looked like it was on.
Yeah, Foxtrack liked it right on the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch is foul back. Hold is right there at 2-2 the count.
I know Bill Hall's excited to be back in the big leagues, but he's had to take some tough defensive swings tonight. Welcome back. He's gotten deep counts, to his credit, both times up prior to this, but he's been battling all night long.
Rays have further action in the bullpen. 1 on, 1 out. 2-2 the count to Hall. Couldn't catch up to that. 97 for Jake McGee. Welcome back.
I mean, this is just rear back and fire and inner half, and Bill Hall said, was that a strike? And it didn't really matter at that point because he was late, and Jake McGee strikes out the first batter he faces.
Well, that was that fastball in that Nelson's prone to call anyway. If you're a right-handed hitter there, you've got to protect there. And against 97, Hall did about as good a job as you're going to do in there. 1-0 the count now to Andino.
You know, we've seen McGee start to mix in that slider a little bit, and it hasn't even been a pitch that he's developed fully yet. But the way his fastball has been, he's just been living with that consistently.
It's up 2-0. You really get the idea that he believes now a lot more than he did early. It's a process that a young pitcher will go through. And that slider is better, but it's not something that he's going to rely on. He just needs to have a pitch that's pretty reliable as a slider with the kind of stuff he has, and his fastball location has been better. Not only his velocity always been outstanding, but the location of that fastball has been great. Burke Badenhop loosening in the bullpen. 2-2. If you get a guy who throws 95, 96, 97,
consistent,
and can move the fastball around, that might be all you need. And then just for fun, oh yeah, here's a slider. Swing and a miss. He powered the fastball at 97 right by Andino. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 5-0 Rays.
Nothing. The Tampa Bay Times, formerly the St. Petersburg Times, changed its name to better reflect the region it serves. To subscribe to the Tampa Bay Times, call 877-THE-TIMES or visit tampabay.com/subscribe.
Luke Scott prepares to open the bottom of the 8th inning for the Rays against the left-hander Troy Patton. The Rays scored 5 in the first, and they hold a 5-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. Luke drove in 2 runs with a single in the first. 1 for 3. And a swing and a miss against the lefty. Strike 1. Sean Rodriguez will be next, and then Thompson is due up. And another strike from Patton.
He showed pretty good stuff against the Rays in that outing up in Baltimore. Mentioned a couple of solo home runs against them, but a good little slider and change. Only throw the change to the righties.
And Luke is out on strikes. So 1 away. Sean Rodriguez and his right-handed bat due up, and Buck Showalter pops out of the dugout, and he's going to go to the bullpen. Well, the Orioles down to their final 3 outs, and Showalter's going to match up right down the line here. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Metro PCS, wireless for all. Here with Sean Rodriguez due up. Jim Johnson, who's his closer, is in there. And the first pitch is skied to center for Jones, who makes the catch. And on this little skid the Orioles have been on, he hasn't had a chance to pitch much, has he, Tom?
When you have a losing streak, you don't use your ninth inning guy. Your closer doesn't get to pitch. So here's a guy, Johnson, who's only thrown 2/3 of an inning during the losing streak. And that was on Sunday when he threw 10 pitches in their loss to Kansas City. So Buck's just getting him out there to get a little work in. I mean, what a year he's having. 0.84 ERA, 16 of 16 saves. That's why he's in there with his team trailing 5-0.
Rich Thompson lifts the fly ball to center. Going back is Jones, and he makes the catch. Well, if he wanted him to get some work, he got 2 pitches in. We go to the 9th, 5-0 Rays. Promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's go back to the 6th when J.J. Hardy hit this fly ball to center. Bases loaded, 1 out, and it appeared they might get a run. But Upton gets an assist on a putout at second base before the run scored, and that preserves the shutout.
He threw a strike to second base right on the bag. Steve Tollefson taking a chance. The trail runner, everybody tagged up on that play. Bill Hall did not cross home plate before Tollefson was tagged out at second, so the run does not count. The Rays kept the shutout with David Price, and now Burke Badenhop trying to finish it off in his 25th appearance of the season. 0-1 with a ERA just below 4 at 3.97. 22 2/3 innings for Badenhop coming in, so another fine job by Jake McGee after another outstanding start by David Price.
Well, Tollefson is due to lead off, but Indy Chavez will hit in his spot. And the first pitch from Badenhop is a strike. Tollefson was 1 for 3, and now Chavez up here to swing the bat. J.J. Hardy next, and then Adam Jones. Broken bat and a roller up the middle. Backhanded by Zobrist, throwing across his body and out at first base. Nice play right there by Ben Zobrist. Good play on the pickup and a very good play on the throw.
That was really well done. That was not an easy play. Watch how Zobrist has to angle over and cut off the ball before it gets too deep on him, because he knew Chavez, who runs pretty well, was going to be down the line in a hurry, and then that off-balance throw gets him by less than a stride.
Here's Hardy. Pitch in there for a strike. Cut and a miss. 0-2.
Saw earlier about how good the bullpen was in May, trying to pick up right where they left off on the first night of June.
And a base hit into right. He got that one past Pena. So a 1-out base hit, the 4th hit of the night for Baltimore. Santana has thrown the no-hitter.
Really?
He struck out David Freese. He made 134 pitches. He had 122 going into the 9th. He finishes with 134.
Wow.
And throws a no-hitter against the Cardinals. 8 strikeouts and 5 walks.
That's having a no-hitter. How about that?
It's their first ever.
After all those years.
Started in 1962. With a line drive and a base hit by Adam Jones. Down to second base goes Hardy. So Jones has his 2nd hit of the night. Picked up the infield hit in the 7th and now a hit in the 9th.
Joe Madden thought he might be able to escape tonight without having to go to either Joel Peralta or Fernando Rodney, but he's got Rodney up just in case. A couple of base hits back to back. But
this is a loose ball club and a loose bullpen, but I don't know if he needed a boost of energy. Was that a lollipop in his mouth down there?
Could be. That's a casual warm-up right there.
How about that? And a base hit the other way. Wieters just strokes it into left, and now the bases are loaded with 1 out here in the 9th inning. So after the ground ball and the good play by Zobrist, Hardy, Jones, and Wieters have singled in quick order, and the bases are loaded.
I think the fans are looking for Rodney, but I think Joe Madden's going to keep Badenhop on at least for this batter, Reynolds. Badenhop's so good at inducing a ground ball that he's thinking I can get a ground ball and end this game right here. But
well, that's what the Rays are looking for. The Orioles have Mark Reynolds, who has big time power, and Joe Madden's going to come out of the dugout now with the bases loaded in 1 out, because where they are is 1 swing away from this being a 1-run game instead of a 5-run game. And Madden's going to go to the bullpen. So with the bases loaded in 1 out, we will step aside and return in a moment. A call tonight. Price for 7 1/3, McGee 2/3, Badenhop for 1/3, and Fernando Rodney will inherit a bases loaded 1 out situation. Well, that turns out to be a straw in the mouth of Fernando Rodney, and so the straw that stirs Rodney into this game lying on the turf right now. And very much into this game is Fernando Rodney.
How good has this guy been? 26th appearance, 16 saves on the year, and this is an opportunity, even in a 5-0 game, with a tying run on deck for a save.
He faces Reynolds, and the first pitch is too low. 1 ball and no strikes. Mark Reynolds 0 for 3. See Rodney 2-1 on the year to go with the 16 saves and 17 opportunities. And the pitch is a strike. That's a strike on the outside corner at 95. Rodney has only faced Reynolds one other time, and he struck him out that time. He's ahead in the count, 1-2 right now. And he pours that one low at 96. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hardy third, Jones second, Wieters at first on consecutive singles. The 2-2. He got him with that changeup. Oh my. A 2-2 changeup, and he had Reynolds way out in front for out number 2.
95-96 fastball, 82 changeup, and it makes hitters look like that. That is devastating. That's what he's been doing all year long.
And just a nice easy fade on the change, and you're all set for that 94-95 fastball. You get that at 82. Here's Chris Davis. The pitch, a change to start him, and that's inside. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 of 5 with a couple strikeouts lifetime against Fernando Rodney. One-0 pitch. Ground ball to first. Pena's got it. He'll step on the bag, and the Rays are winners. It's a shutout tonight. A combination shutout, 5-0, as the Rays move into first place by 1 full game over the Baltimore Orioles. The 4th shutout of the year thrown by Rays pitching. This one a combination of Price, McGee, Badenhop, and Fernando Rodney to finish it 5-0.
Kind of an unorthodox shutout with that 4-pitcher combined shutout, just because